Come on students, this is the 8th part of the video of the chapter Federalism. In this video, I am explaining you one important question. How is federal power sharing more effective today? How it is more effective today than in the earlier years. It means federalism was not so effective in the previous decades, and why it is very effective in the present situation. What happens? See, central state relations. As and when the ruling party at the state level was different, the parties that ruled the center tried to undermine the power of the states. Undermining means they used to weaken the power of the state, who center was trying to weaken the power of the state. This is not correct. If central government is giving any power to state, then it is the duty of the central government to respect and not to undermine, not to weaken by any force or anything the state government. Then what happens? The central government has been misusing the constitution to dismiss the state government that were controlled by rival parties, means by competitive parties or by the opposition government or by any you can say the parties which were dominating or which were the corrupt parties. So that's what the central government was doing. It was misusing the constitution. This was undermining, this was weakening the spirit of federalism. All this changed significantly after 1919. This period saw the rise of regional local parties in many states of the country. So the center state relations were not proper, and because of these regional and rival parties, the spirit of federalism was becoming weak. Then what happened? See now. The coalition government and autonomy of states. The era means one period of coalition has changed the relationship between center and state governments, since no single party got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha. So when coalition government is formed, when no single party is getting majority in the Lok Sabha, then the major national parties are entering into a alliance, means an agreement with many parties, including several regional parties, to form a government at the center. This led to a new culture of power sharing and respect for the autonomy of state government. So when the state governments were when dominated by central government, then what happened? Now coalition government started, and because of this coalition government, now the central government, if the state government is dismissed by the central government, then the central government cannot rule on that state, and there cannot be any emergency in the state by the president. What happens then? They form a new coalition government. So because of this coalition government, the spirit of federalism has been strengthened. Now next, come to the next point. Judgment of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of India has established strict guidelines for imposing precedent's rule. If in any state any emergency is declared, then previously whatever was happening, the state government was getting dismissed, and again emergency was getting held in that, it was taking place in that state. But now Supreme Court has given strict guidelines for imposing precedent's rule. With new guidelines, it is very difficult for the central government to dismiss state governments in an arbitrary manner. Means arbitrary means मनमानी करते थे central government, but to dismiss the state government, and it was taking not proper and honest rule because of rival parties, because of so much corruption. You can understand that because of these new guidelines, now central government cannot dismiss state government, and if they are dismissing state government, then by coalition government they can form the government from that state only. State central government need not impose emergency or precedent's rule in that state. Thus, federal power sharing is more effective today than it was in the earlier years after the constitution came into force. So, in this way, power sharing now today is more effective because of judgment of Supreme Court and because of coalition government. I hope you might have understood this question nicely.